Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our study through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We're in the Calamus section, and we now pick up the little poem, Earth, My Likeness. Now, my assumptions is that you've been with us from the very beginning. You've been watching our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Talks with Walt, from inscriptions all the way up to including the poem we just studied, A Leaf for Hand in Hand. Our Nortons will tell us about this one, this one, Earth, My Likeness, that in this one, Calamus number 36 is numbered actually 11, Roman numeral XI 11, but in another manuscript it's marked as actually 6. The poem took its present title in 1867 and ultimately otherwise remained unchanged. Now, let's go ahead and enjoy this poem and think about the ways that the earth is a symbol or a metaphor in all of Leaves of Grass. I mean, think about how it's used in Song of Myself, passage 6. We're going to come to it in Song of the Open Road. After Calamus, the section that follows, the large section that follows, although not named, is the section of the songs. And one of the great songs is Song of the Open Road, and we're going to see this idea of the glorification of the earth as being this amazing thing. Earth, my likeness. Earth, my likeness. Though you look so impassive, ample, and spheric there, I now suspect that is not all. I now suspect there is something fierce in you, eligible to burst forth. For an athlete is enamored of me, and I of him. But toward him there is something fierce and terrible in me, eligible to burst forth. I dare not tell it in words, not even in these songs. Now, the idea that Whitman is always hiding something that he so desperately wants to share, that he so desperately doesn't want to share, is always a part of our reading of Leaves of Grass, as we said. Notice we'll begin with the word likeness. Immediately we think of Song of Myself, passage 52. It flings my likeness after the rest, you'll remember, right? And you'll remember in Eidolon that it was the mighty earth. Go back and see what we have to say about that. So, Earth, my likeness, though you look so impassive. He'll write poems to the earth in this pronoun you, right? You look so, and then notice we got 3 of them. Impassive, ample, spheric there. We immediately think about Keats's Bright Star, that last poem that he works on, impassive, a poem that certainly Whitman knew well. I now will follow the next 2 lines. I now suspect will follow the next 2 lines. I now suspect that is not all. Now, this idea of suspect is his word perhaps, as we've said. He loves this idea that there's stuff I'm not sure about. I think I'm right. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. The fallible is positioned epistemologically, as we said. I now suspect there is something fierce. Think about, in Children of Adam, that word fierce gets used twice. In Calamus, it gets used 4 times. There's something fierce in you, eligible. That idea of potentiality is always there in Leaves of Grass. To burst forth, we're going to come back to this, eligible to burst forth, here 2 lines later. For an athlete is enamored of me. Hey, do you remember passage 47 at the beginning? I am the teacher of athletes. He that by me swims with whiter breast, I know, proves the width of my own. He most honors my style who learns under to destroy the teacher. We're back to that idea of the athlete. Think about athlete. Of course, in passage 47, it's the swimmer. Think about athlete as being not so much about sports, but someone who struggles, someone who strives, we might say. For an athlete is enamored of me. Do you remember in Song of Myself, passage 14, he said, I'm enamored of growing out of doors. You'll remember that. Enamored of me and I of him, but toward him there is something fierce and terrible. Well, notice it's fierce and terrible now. Yeah, he loves this word terrible. Remember Song of Myself, passage 3, the heart beats with terrible throes, you'll remember. Terrible in me, eligible to burst forth. So in other words, in the same way that the earth has this potentiality of dynamic growth, Whitman has this potentiality of amazing growth as well, right? And then he says it, I dare not tell it in words. It is an amazing thing, the way he uses the word dare. I dare you to will, I dare you, he'll use in passage 46, 47. I dare not tell it in words, not even in these songs. That is to say, there are things that for Whitman he doesn't want to share outright, even in the carols or the songs that he is providing us with. Well, what is a message here that we're going to write down at 2a? There is obviously a terrible power, and by terrible here he means mighty, right? Great power in potential friendships, and he's always looking for those as an artist, right? At 2b, I love all these echoes of the word terrible and fierce, as we've said. And at 3a, I mentioned Keats' Bright Star, Song of Myself, passage 47, the teacher of athletes. Finally, at 3b, a way to maybe try and hold on to a poem like this. What is fierce and terrible in you? It's a funny question, and yet after you study a poem like this, you can maybe begin it. What is potentially so unbelievably mighty and strong in you that has not yet begun to show? And with whom will you share that fierceness? I hope that your study of Whitman is encouraging you to share that fierceness, right? Thank you.